Hey, it's Emily on Just Ask Em. I got the David Pnasty, aka DJ Pnasty, the best DJ in the house. Thank you for joining me.
Oh, thank you so much for taking the time to have me. It's an honor. Thank you.
It's my honor.
Yeah.
Super big on just, collaborating with local people in Buffalo, anything from DJ, to music, to and anything that somebody might be working on or what their day job is, or if it's something beneficial.
Yeah.
So we all do know you as DJ Pnasty, but first and foremost, who is David?
So David Pnasty Jr., that is my official name. My father is senior, so and I would say that would kind of started off with there. David Pnasty Jr., he is a son to Mary and David Pnasty, who are my parents. High school sweethearts, still married. Yeah.
Your mom is beautiful. I've seen her at your birthday. How was your birthday?
It was good. As a matter of fact, somebody said to me, so it's a new decade, and they said, what was your highlight of the last decade? And I said, undoubtedly within seconds, I said my son. So definitely my son Sebastian. So to your other point of your question, I'm a son, I'm a father, I'm a brother to my sister Brianne, her husband Devante, and an uncle to my niece.
Okay.
And very fortunate to be a role model and mentor, because I'm also a teacher, which is my 9 to 5, and I've been very fortunate to be very embraced and permitted into a lot of young adults' lives, and then not only that, but taking it outside of the classroom and keeping me in there. So, and as a teacher, we wear a lot of different hats. So, that's pretty much my makeup. But I would say, first and foremost, a son and a father and a brother and
family. You're Italian, right?
Yeah, 100% Italian.
Yeah, you know how that goes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Doesn't matter how old you are. You stay close forever.
Yeah, we still do Sunday dinners every Sunday. So
there's not enough of that, though,
Yeah, I always say if you're a friend of mine or you're somebody that I'm dating, once you get that Sunday dinner invite,
you're locked in.
You're locked in. It's
like a mob.
We prick your finger. And we do the blood and everything. So and that's just it's probably the biggest form of flattery is meeting my family, because it's who I'm extremely close to. And
that's your place of peace. As busy as you are, and that's like I said, when you wear so many hats, you're a dad, you got family, you got your parents still. Not everybody's fortunate to still have their parents at your age, so it's just you're almost on this borrowed time now, and you as you get older, you learn the importance of, okay, I need to cut out a little time of this busy schedule, just to literally spend time with family. How long have you been teaching?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. So I believe this is my 17th year. And off camera, we were talking yesterday. How do I spend the day after my birthday? It was actually kind of a nice gift, a way to end the weekend. DJ'd a wedding for a former student.
Okay, proud moment.
Yeah, shouts to Tony.
Yeah.
She had me at her wedding. I taught her in 7th grade, one of my first jobs, and she's 30 now. Yeah. And I just turned 40, so I didn't think about it until we were going over her planning form that wow, we're 10 years apart.
Right. It sounds weird that you taught her.
So she's like, you had me, you just had got out of your undergrad. So and I was substitute while going for my graduate. So about 17 years. But before that, I worked with the Boys and Girls Club in Niagara Falls. Okay. Shouts to Miss Diane and the Boys and Girls Club there. So they were great. And,
Now, what grade do you teach now?
Predominantly 10th grade. I'm in a high school called Middle Early College. We share Bennett High School.
Yeah.
We're still trying to fight for our own building.
Okay.
It's been some time, but we share a building. And before that, I had been at a couple other schools, like School 74, Grover, Cleveland. Shouts to the West Side.
Yeah, Da Vinci here down the street, but close.
West Side of Buffalo. It's a beautiful area too. But
how is teaching 10th graders these days? Because
Yeah, so if I'm honest with you, I spent the first half of my career pretty much doing middle school, and actually, I think middle school was a lot more
involved. Would you say?
Not necessarily involved, but I'll say a lot more unpredictable, maybe.
All the emotions,
just so many emotions, and just because it was a K-8 school, you had so many different. The student that you had in the 7th grade could be a complete different student in the 8th or 8th grade year.
Yeah.
Or from one day to the next. But the 10th grade, I think I've really become home in the high school. It's a really great place for me. And I just, I'm forever grateful that they.
I think it's always helpful to like you're so cool. You're a young guy. You DJ, so you kind of understand like what's in these days. And I think in school we always had our favorite teachers. And just kind of you can probably read the students and figure out how they need to be approached or like understanding like their teaching style or. Kids got troubles at home and stuff, so it's just like knowing how to approach that and make them feel involved and welcome. I can see you like doing that really well. So
yeah, I would say it's important. Like that's the first thing that I say to my students when they walk in is, thanks for being here today. And they're always like, why? I say, because you had a choice. No, I didn't. I said, well, you did. You took a bus here, you walked here. So just really making them feel like, that
part of something.
Or I'm like, oh, we missed you yesterday. Like, you recognize I wasn't here? Of course. So, like, it's just good to let them know that, that it's a good place for them. So
absolutely. That answers what you do by day. Now, would you consider DJing your passion?
No, both of them, honestly. Like people, I always get the question. I get a couple different questions, a variation of these questions. Wow, you still teach, or why haven't you quit teaching and just stuck to DJing full time?
I'm not gonna lie, I like viewed a couple of your stories and I'm like, wait a minute, he's a teacher too? I said, oh, he's doing that. I had no
clue. So I say that to say like in this part of the question, like. Honestly, like I think those professions lead right into each other. I really enjoy like being in the classroom, and I really enjoy my young adults. And as much as I need that, or they need me, I need them. And like even like it lends a hand to some of the music that I maybe not necessarily be in the loop with, or just keeps me in touch with the balance, right? And I really honestly when I'm at school I don't even like I don't look at the clock and like say okay when's it
doesn't feel like work. That's one of the best feelings.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It really is. It's such a difference.
Yeah.
And like music is life. Music brings people together. There's so many different kinds of it, and like just you can literally break the ice and tension in a room with music.
Yeah.
So like you literally have the best of both worlds in the sense of you teach kids, you're making a difference in their life. You enjoy what you do, and then, when I go out, like it's nothing less than an epic night.
Yeah, and like like to your point, like it's like the young adults get older, and it's so funny. I'm always like, okay, like because they always like they want to talk about what I'm a DJ and this and that, and then because I get a chance to do their proms and homecomings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then eventually their weddings, but it's funny, like they actually like they'll be like, I looked at your schedule, and they'll come out and they'll see me DJ.
Aww.
So like initially I was a little bit like I didn't
hesitant.
Not as hesitant, but like I was kind of a little uncomfortable. But like it's funny that like they want to keep me and keep me around, or they seek me out. And like I'm just feel so fortunate for that. And to your point, like what's your passion is like. I've been able to actually like mentor some students into becoming DJs.
Well, and that's my point. I feel like at times, like even with my upbringing, like, my parents, they were young parents, so they were like really strict. And I get letting kids be exposed to certain things at certain times in life and certain ages, absolutely. But I think like to feel uncomfortable, it's like really you can be motivation and encouragement for them to be like, wow, they probably call you Mr. Panessa, that he's a teacher, but he does this outside of his day job and has a son and still has time for family. And I think those priorities, focus, and values have gone so far out the window, that there's not enough of that. So I personally, my opinion, like, is nothing to be uncomfortable about, because that's them admiring you. And these days, what better thing than for them to admire a person like you versus kind of like the trash online, social media, the bad influences. Now they're thinking that's a role model or something they can look up to. Whereas, what you do is cool. And like I said, I think you're one of the best DJs to me in Buffalo.
Thank you so much.
How you carry yourself, your mannerisms, you're always professional, you're on time. You listen to your room, but like I said, you're also, like if I was a student of yours and I seen how you DJ'd, I would have more of a respect for you than thinking like, oh, like he's out here, out in the streets doing the, it's just how you carry yourself. And that's what I try to tell people, like, there's such a difference solely in that, where you demand a certain kind of respect because you know your value and you know what you bring to the table. And that's what it's going to teach your students, where not to settle for less.
Yeah, well, I think too, a lot of them want to head that route of maybe not a traditional college, or they want to maybe, like, I always get a lot of, because I'm a special ed teacher.
Okay.
So like one of our questions we have to ask for their yearly meetings is like, a transitional, like, what are your plans when you leave? And a lot of them do mention the 2-year, the 4-year school, but a lot of them want to do like digitally create. So, a lot of times I speak to like, okay, well, let's make a sample flyer, or let's incorporate the best way to build relationships with other businesses to help you with your business. Because, I think unfortunately, like, sometimes people don't see the 2,000 hours that I put behind the closed doors. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many
moving parts.
Yeah, and like, whether those moving parts are just, you going out and you don't want to go out just to maybe support somebody. And I think like, I'm forever grateful. I always say like to people, like, that's when people come to see me DJ, I'm always very, I always want to like buy a drink, or because I'm like,
you're appreciative.
Yeah, because I know, like, having a son and co-parenting, I know that you got to find a sitter, or it's freezing cold, or like, you worked all day, or you have something big in the morning, but you still want her to, come out and show me love. So like, it never goes overlooked, rather. So and just talking to my students really so about like the importance of like not just being about yourself, just because just showing them
taking the time. And I think that's one of the big differences with you. Where like, I'm super big on energy. Like, if I meet you, if I have a limited conversation with you, it doesn't take me much to kind of figure out what I like and probably don't like, or like what energy is authentic, what's not. And I think that's one of the like, you were hosting your own birthday party, but we're not going to talk about that. That's fine. But like, your mom was there and like, she was cutting the cake and she's like, do you want a piece of the cake? Like, that is to be able to still provide that kind of authenticity and care and attention to detail. And if anybody knows the size of Hartman's in a space that big, like, that's a true talent. It's an art to be able to do that and that's literally like what I've built my businesses on. Where if somebody is handing you thousands of dollars, the last thing you want is, well, we have package 1, 2, or 3. Which one do you want? You want to make people feel seen and like special for them investing your money on them. So even if it's, me coming out to support you, if I'm paying a cover at the door, if I'm buying a drink at that bar, that's an investment in you. So for you to be mindful and considerate, to show genuine gratitude for that, that's all people need. And that's how you've maintained your file. I'm sure you never have a room that's under 50 people these days when they know you're DJing. Yeah,
like I said, I'm really grateful for that. And I think, like, to your point, that's what I did at my birthday. Like, I specifically invited people and I paid for the food and I did it. And I'm not looking for accolades, but that it's like that one, I want to show on that one day that it's not really necessarily about me.
Right.
It's like my way of celebrating everybody else for always
to reap what you sow.
Yeah, and like, then to your point about like Hartman's, like, have my birthday there, buy the food there, because there's somebody who's, I saw the owners on Saturday, and they're like, you're like part of like, you were our first DJ ever at Hartman's.
Oh, wow.
And so you are part of like,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because they had released, right, like at the end of the pandemic, when they were starting to open things up, they were releasing their Loganberry vodka, and one of their interns, I was DJing her wedding, and she's like, you got to have him. They're like, oh, we never really had a DJ. Within the first hour, Justin, the owner, nicest guy, shouts to Justin and Jen, the owners.
Yeah, I've actually emailed very briefly with Justin regarding the bail room. He seemed really pleasant.
Oh, amazing. Just the whole Hartman's family, the people that work there. But first hour, Justin says to me, when can you come back? I go, excuse me? Because we really didn't know each other. Well, he goes, they're loving this, and so
energy, man.
Yeah, so like, and like, like I said, the casino has been really good to me throughout the years. But to your point, like, just I like to go back to the businesses that are always taking the time to have me at their spaces, and but yeah, like I said,
because it's a give and take. Like for me, my small event planning business, I don't have a venue. I don't have, and like I said, my thought process with that was to outsource, because I'm like, I'm not DJing. I'm not, doing a bar. I'm not hand serving food. So I said, what better way to outsource it? You support local, like you said, kind of more target the small businesses, because everybody's starting out. Everybody's trying to get started. At one point, you didn't have the following that you had. You didn't have people reaching out to you and saying, hey, like, we want you. And that's what I try to tell people, like, no matter how high you get, no matter how successful you are, whatever you're doing, I think it's great that you still find the time to focus on those people who are still getting started.
Yeah, I think so too. Like, I mean, I've been fortunate, and I always tell people this, like, in any space that I've ever DJ'd at, I've always been asked. And like, I've never been a proponent of like going to different places and say, hey, are you looking for a DJ? Because I don't want to step on anybody else's toes.
You let it come to you.
Yeah, like even for this Friday, I had something at Deco, and Brittany, it was her birthday, and she's one of the bartenders there. And initially, when she asked me to DJ, I couldn't. I was committed to something else that fell through. And she said, "Oh, but can you DJ?" I said, "Listen, you already have two others." I said, "I will only DJ under the condition you talk to the other two DJs and you make sure they're okay with splitting the night." She like an hour later, they are like confused as to why you're asking. They would love to have you. I said, "Well, because it
you never know,
because that just kind of divides up the way that payment is." And I said, "So, I always want to be respectful of people and the way that they feed their families." So, and like you kind of mentioned, like the younger DJs and things like that, like. Somebody that I personally invested in that was a former student in 7th grade, Marlasia, DJ Liberty, most people know her. We just had her on the private party. I was going to talk about that towards the end.
Okay.
But Sharks in Marlasia, she's been, everything, and like she'd become pretty much part. She's been to Sunday dinner plenty of times.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
But she was a girl I taught in 7th grade.
That's crazy. It sounds so weird because looking at you, like you're so young. So it's like to talk about somebody you taught, in 7th grade. It's like
DM me for my skin routine, okay?
Right? Yes, like it's
a lot of exfoliating. But she's made me so proud, and I don't think she's. Like I said, she allowed me in her life, and she seeked me out after I saw her in the mall. Hey, can I shadow you? And then like from there, she just like
took off.
Was a sponge.
Yeah.
And like I've seen her just reach so many different heights, and Marlasia, I'm so proud of you and I love you. So, and she's been there like personally, like if I help me with my son, and she always showing up. So.
And like I said, you're always well put together. You always have a great demeanor. You always got a smile on your face. Number one, I'm always saying it, but this is like the live definition of humbly confident. So you know what you bring to the table. You know your talent, but to be humble about it just adds that much more shine and value to what you do. And that's what you exude, and that's what brings things to you. Because what's meant for you, like you say, you don't got to walk in a place saying, hey, are you looking for a DJ? If anybody knows who you are now, and, if there are other DJs, just showing that respect of, hey, are you okay splitting the night with me? Like, those are the things that continue to bless you, and I feel like, I say it again, collaboration over competition, because it's just like, if you're constantly competing and you're never working together, that competition ends. Whereas collaboration is going to, okay, you feed off of me, I feed off of you. You're just going to keep climbing the ladder. And that's like, it's such a great mindset to have. And I wish people would realize that automatically brings you so many more blessings when you pretty much maintain the mindset that you have, and like I said, I think it's great that you're so well known for DJing, but you're so many more things like behind that. And then, the DJ Liberty who, takes care of your son when you need it. Those are the things that's really happening behind the scenes when this guy's giving you your entertainment at 3 a.m.
Yeah, I mean,
you just like, okay, something with the kids.
Strong team.
It's like, and that foundation and that support system, even if it's small, but if it's strong, it's literally what allows you to do what you do, enjoy it, and probably just be at peace,
Rock solid. My family has been, and like to your point, I mean, I think it's and like you kind of mentioned humbly confident, but I think it's really, I'm a reflection of my family first and foremost, but I'm a reflection of my support. And everybody that shows up for me. So, I'd like to think it's just not, I wouldn't like to think that, but I mean, I think some people think DJs can be of the mindset that it's all about them. And again, maybe that's where I differ a little bit, but, or I'm the same with some DJs as well. But, I'm truly a reflection of my support rather, and like just people taking that time, and just showing up where I'm at.
Listen, taking the time and just showing up. And like I said, like, I understand everybody's busy. I mean, but like, who isn't busy? Who doesn't have 2 to 3 jobs these days? Especially if you got kids, like, there's nothing less than that. So it's not to take away from actually being busy or like occupied. I think it's just taking a moment to focus and prioritize, okay, I have to get all these things done. And you can. Like time management, that'll be a whole nother episode. But like, you know, for me, the mindset I've developed over time is if you really want to do something or make time for something, you will. Like the reality is you will. If you want to see somebody, if you want to do something, if you want to be somewhere, I'd rather have you just tell me, no, I can't make it. I don't want to see you, whatever it is. Like, and I'll be cool with that. But when you really want to show up or make the time for something, you will and you can.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you're not 120%. That's why I look like it's sometimes frustrating when some people don't text you back and things like that because, you know, it's like, come on. And then, I was busy.
I was busy.
So, I mean, you know, and, you know, like I said, that's the things where the time management stuff comes into play too. So, but no, like I said, I'm the town of Buffalo, the city of Buffalo and beyond and, you know, Louis, what's in New York?
I still have yet to like make it to one of the nights in Niagara Falls. I've been looking at your dates, but like I still have, like, because I've been there before. Actually, maybe years ago. I probably never realized it was you. There probably, but like I've never actually like been like while you've played there. So
we'll get
that's got to be on the list.
We'll get you out there.
Cal's birthday's coming up, so.
Gotcha. Yeah, he's close to me.
Yeah. So, anything fun and exciting coming up? Because you know the weather's about to break.
Yeah, for sure. You know, so obviously I'm actually it's coming up as far as aside from work. I'm taking my son to Jamaica in April for a break, so I'm looking forward to that. And as far as like interesting things coming up, I have a team that I'm doing this private party with. If you're familiar or not, if not, follow it on Instagram. It's a private party. It's basically a boy. You came to my set.
I came to the first one.
Yeah, and you know I have a really strong team. And there's
talk a little bit more about that because I did go to the first one, but obviously it was very new.
Yeah,
you know when you're starting something, you're figuring out.
Like to your point, like about collaboration. So, and it's funny because everybody thinks it's just me, but I'm very quick to let people know that it's not just me. It's a great team. So, to your point. We're really doing our job to like showcase local businesses, local DJs, and like local services. So, for example, March it's Women's History Month, so we did DJ Liberty. If you have not looked at her YouTube, go look at the YouTube of the whole set. It's on her Mixcloud or SoundCloud. When I tell you, she really showed out.
That's who was at your birthday, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep,
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So her set. I mean, when you talk about crowd engagement, incredible, and like it's supposed to resemble sort of the boiler room sets. If you're not familiar with that, basically it's intimate spaces where it kind of gives people that opposite of. People sometimes think that they can't come into the DJ and request songs, and people sometimes think that they can't. That there has to be all this space. We're not necessarily saying that like it's a place where people come and request music, but it's more of a time like where people can actually kind of like be, you know, within close proximity of the DJ. And if you've ever seen it online, it's basically like small rooms with people just having a good time and playing different versions of songs and different, like we call them in the DJ world, edits or bootlegs, which are just different versions of a song. And she made some couple for hers, and it was incredible. But so in March, we highlighted my friend Siobhan Taylor. She owns Miss Eye Candy.
Yeah.
She's been a huge supporter of me. We have a great crew, our family. So shouts to Miss Eye Candy, 85 Allen.
I'm gonna have to remember all these businesses to tag.
She's incredible. So she gave us the space that day.
Yeah. I love her shop.
And then Brittany, she whose birthday was just, she's a bartender at Deco. She has Be Boozy. It's her bartending service.
Yep.
And she bartended, so she was a girl. And we had our DJ Liberty, who was a girl. So we kept it all girls.
Ladies.
I apologize. Thank you. We kept it all
I got you, ladies.
we kept it all ladies, or women.
Yes.
I'll say one better. We kept it all queens.
Yes.
We kept it royalty. So we have the next couple coming up. We're trying to plan. So really, it's fun because I've had people have to be like, hey, our space will be interested in hosting you. So after two, it's really generating some traction.
Okay.
But we're gonna be doing those. We're trying to keep it to once a month. And as I said, like my first one that we did, unfortunately, we had some issues with streaming where it was kind of lagging because we weren't connected to the router. And
wouldn't have known if you told me.
Yeah, so I uploaded just the audio, but to that point, like it's really given us an opportunity to really like get kind of perfect all the kinks out. Yeah. And I really see it continuing to go well. Like I said, my team they're doing a great job, and just really, and everybody's like, when's your next one? I'm like, listen, it's not about me.
Yeah.
I want to give other. I want this to be a showcase, showcase for DJs, and really, and like that's where you say about like competition. Why would I put that stress on me being there the whole, for every single one, where I could just let everybody get it and become stale, and that's where I always say like DJing weddings and the nightlife, like the bar scene is great because DJing weddings
combination.
It pulls me off. Yeah, it pulls me off the scene and gets a chance of people like, oh, when's he back? And then getting back on the scene, they're like, okay, he's back. Yeah. And then all these people come out. You
have to kind of create this demand of them. Like you said, not getting boring because like too much of anything, you're gonna get bored of it.
Yeah.
So keeping that that originality, the creativity. That actually helps me understand kind of what your concept is a little more with it's private party.
Yeah.
And I think that's great, and it's like in a way that's kind of like the podcast idea where somebody who's starting out a small business or trying to get themselves out there, marketing is very pricey. Nobody just has $3,000 in a month, and I just started from square one.
Right.
So I think that's great because these types of things is what Buffalo needs. Just even if it starts in small rooms, bringing people together. Well, what do you do? What do you do? How can we work together and make it one big thing like you have done?
Yeah, we let people shop while they were at the boutique. So, not let them, but we encourage them. We said,
and it's there.
Yeah, and on the social media, we did a feature for each one of them to show like who they were, what they represent, just so if nothing else, it spreads awareness and really makes people
doesn't get lost in translation.
Yeah, and I think Buffalo is unique in that sense that we have so many amazing people and so many amazing
a lot of talent.
Yeah, and I think our area is just an amazing place for it.
We're like a small big city.
Yeah.
Where it's just like we still maintain this level of like closeness and kind of like old fashioned like values and kind of just like a hometown. But there's really more happening here than like we know and we're aware of, you know. And it's I get where it's like, what do they say? Keep Buffalo a secret.
Yeah.
And that's good in some ways, but at the same time too, you also want to grow too. But it's also how you grow where it's not always quantity. Like that quality is great where, like I said, in your room, what do you have? Maybe less than 100 people.
Yeah.
But it's still the quality of what you're doing and it's maximizing the outcome of it.
Like the first one we kind of actually we funded on our own and my
nice.
and one of the guys he's like, we got a really good response and he goes you didn't trust that you had that good of a following. So it's not that I didn't trust that. I said
it's something new.
It was a different concept and I just didn't know. But he's like, we put the RSVP form and they just filled it right out. And I said, yeah, I'm very blessed in that sense. So, we've adjusted and I think at the last one we charged $5 for the first hour and then after that was a $10 cover. But then, as I said, I think the thing that really is, it's a short window time. It's 3 hours. It gives people kind of a time to step out.
Just enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it so far so good. So we're going to keep going with that. I did receive an opportunity coming this summer I had a casino, Foxwoods Casino in Connecticut. They're bringing me out there Labor Day weekend. Wow. So you're finding, this is breaking news right here on Ask M, right? So
you heard it here first.
Yeah, just Ask M.
Exciting.
So, I just finished up some of the digital marketing with them reaching out to me and, shouts to Christian at Foxwoods, always taking care of me. So, but I'm going to be DJing that Sunday, Labor Day weekend, a pool party during the day. Oh. And then they're putting me in the nightclub. And the way that I talked to my boss and one of my good friends at the casino, who's my boss, he said, Foxwoods? I said, yeah. He said, you could fit all 3 of our properties in there and still have room. He goes, it's huge. He goes, and they bring a lot of big names. He said, but trust me, it's no accident they're bringing you there. Trust me. So, but shouts to Tone too. So yeah, that's my good friend. So.
I mean, and like you said, it just, at the end of it all, it's those quality connections, it's showing up, just taking the time, just taking care of people. Like I said, I just said on my podcast yesterday, just checking on people, see how people are doing. Yeah. Everybody gets busy, but you can just spark, checking in on them and maybe they're checking in on somebody else. So just, summer's approaching. Let's keep this energy. Super honored to have DJ Pnasty here on Just Ask M.
Yeah.
Looking forward to the summer.
I'm happy you asked
Absolutely.
me. And, I guess I would say definitely. And I think as I've gotten older, I've found out the value of, I used to be so afraid to book a photo shoot and think it was too self-centered or too in vain. But then, I've really when they reached out to me, hey, do you have your press kit? Boom. Like it was
That
done. It was right,
preparedness.
that prepared,
Yeah.
and like it was great. So, that's a tip too, is, hire a good photographer and videographer. The investment in the photo shoots, and you don't do them that often. And Dennis Wilson, who owns the Oak Room, who's booked me for a long time as well. Him and Kurt, owners of the Oak Room, they've always shown a lot of love and had me DJ there back in the day. But Dennis is always a proponent of make sure you get make sure you keep your photo shoots up to date.
Those headshots.
And Dennis does a great job with flyers. I usually send him a lot of my work.
Okay.
And Dennis does phenomenal work. And if you know Dennis, he's constantly making excursions and events and experiences here in Buffalo, and then he's taking people on the road for Bill's trips and planning experiences that. So shout out to him and Kurt
and that's how it
the
should
Oak Room
be.
family.
Yeah, like when people have those, when they have that access to those things and those opportunities, like bringing people with you, like that's definitely what it should be. And just because at some point maybe somebody helped you along the way,
Yeah.
So that's definitely a major part of it.
Well, people are still helping me along the way,
and that's great.
You know what I mean?
It's
I think that's something that you can never outgrow. And people are always like, oh, so because this May will be 20 years that I've been DJing.
Wow.
So and people are like, oh, like
you have to evolve with the times as well.
Yeah, and I'm still, trust me, I'm still downloading music. I'm still making playlists. I'm still, spending like the time to practice. I mean, it doesn't end. And if you want to continue to, you got to, like you said, the preparedness. I did a wedding for my former student. She married somebody who's from Ghana, so I had to do my.
Oh, you had to learn that.
Yeah, I mean, not necessarily learn it because they requested Afrobeat, which shouts to Buffalo has a really great following of and a good demographic that loves to hear it.
Yeah.
And like it really helped me. So
that was a benefit. Yeah.
Yeah. So but like to that point, I still had to they wanted specifically from Ghana. So then I kind of took it a step further, but I said, I use it as I can incorporate this in my other sets. You know what I mean?
And that helps you grow. Yeah, exactly. It expands those horizons of, I never would have thought to do research on that or look for that kind of music. And that's what's great too, like what you do when you can find something that's constantly evolving and growing, that's what doesn't make it feel like work. And that's literally what keeps you enjoying what you do.
Yeah. And I think constantly evolving and coming up on the 20 years, I'd be remiss if I didn't, the guy who got me started, if you've watched previous podcasts, Mike Warren, he worked with my uncle at the New York State Power Authority, an electrician. He gave me the foundation of business and really showed me how to come in humbly. And then my brother and the godfather of my son, my friend DJ G Money, Gary Hall, he DJed some of my birthday party on Saturday. But, he helped me a lot.
That's really important what you said, just teaching you the foundation of business. So I got friends who make fun of me. They call me Jamaican because if you knew the amount of jobs I had.
Right.
But and I used to look at that like a bad thing. And then I realized how much of a benefit that actually was. So having the base understanding of business or the background of customer services that I have, there's actually such a strength in that because there's business in everything.
Yeah.
Literally, there's business in everything the minute you walk into a place, when you have a conversation with somebody. So if you can genuinely understand people and the concept of business professionalism and that sort of thing, you can pretty much apply it to so many different areas in life. And that's the mindset that I've been developing. We're there's literally nothing you can't do. There's nothing that can't be learned. There's nothing that if you don't organize it or you are prepared for it, why couldn't you do it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's the mindset that I want to because I'm one of your students. I'm still 5 classes away from an associate's degree. College was not it for me. I hate school. For me, I'm hands-on, I'm visual. I I have these great ideas. I organize them in my own way and then I make it happen. That's just my learning style. So I've just ran into a lot of people who they stick with the 9 to 5 because it's a secure thing. It's a safe option. And for me, I'm I've taken the completely risky route. God is just paying my rent by faith at this point. So,
He's never late.
But it's not impossible. So it's just if you do have a vision or a dream that you think can really become something, it's gonna be rough. I'm sure you know. But if you keep believing in it, look at you. You've been teaching 17 years, DJing 20.
Yeah, and I can't tell you the amount of events. To that point, I've taken some events that maybe not necessarily the best paying or not necessarily, but
It's not all about the money.
but then no, I've taken some important lessons. Like if I could tell you, like just whether it was the music or I go somewhere else and oh hey, you were the DJ here. It
Word
just
of mouth.
it creates, and then like even like with some young adult, like even on the school side of things, hey, you were a DJ here. You're good. You got Mr. P. He's a DJ. Like it just it really lets you be seen and like I have the opportunity. I'm on the Buffalo Music and Arts Board
Yes,
with
okay.
Lindsay Taylor. Shouts to Lindsay and our Buffalo fam. But Lindsay's. That's why I love being on the Buffalo board. Is that it keeps me in that same community that I teach in, and constantly engaged with the community and things.
And that's a lot of the time, like even if it's like new business owners or people who think, okay, I'm never gonna get there or get to that point. Like I've worked so many different kinds of like customer services and jobs where, like you said, the lessons you take away from it is really like you could have 5 quality clients versus the company that might be, maintaining 500. But with those 5 quality clients, if you build that strong foundation with them, you show them what you can do, you do it with passion and you're genuine about it. Now they can tell their family. Like you said, now you're in a school setting. They can tell their school parents, their teachers' parents. And it turns into this thing you probably never could have imagined, but it's just those powerful quality connections.
Once the guy that I worked for kind of pulled back, I think it took me like 5 or 10 years to get 5 years to get business cards because word of mouth was so powerful.
Yeah.
I was like, well, Jesus, I guess I already filled up the summer.
Yeah.
I have 30 weddings just this year to DJ and like 5 already on the books for next year.
Yeah.
And one of my weddings is in Long Island. So like,
nice. Okay.
and if you've heard, Kareem and Hyro, they flew me out to Paris.
Wow.
And I always tell my students, I'm like, that was like on my 18th year. It's like you guys, and I really want to explain that to them is like, if you keep that hard work ethic up, it eventually leads to other things, and it might not happen in the first 18 minutes, 18 months.
I had to learn that lesson real quick. It doesn't happen overnight.
It doesn't, and I think like people don't understand like it was such a
build up.
And you just got to just be patient and to be truthful with you, I don't know if my first 5 years in, I probably wouldn't have been comfortable going to Paris to do a wedding. I probably wouldn't have been comfortable in. I would do snooty Sundays. I wouldn't have been comfortable. Like I had a lot.
You weren't ready then.
No, I wasn't. And I think like I'm not saying don't chase goals, and I'm not saying don't. But like if it's not happening today, like just
that's not enough of a reality. And I think that's where, whether it's cultural, whether it's being educated, a lot of people have great ideas. They start these businesses, but they don't pay attention to this part. They think like, oh well, so and so did it. And you have to understand, what you're trying to build, what your goal and what you're trying to get out of it. And that was one of the lessons I had to learn because I've really only started my own, and I'm less than 2 years, where, okay, you really got to take your time if you want the longevity of it.
Yeah.
Because when you try to speed up things, when you try to rush it, you're going to fall on your face. You'll keep falling over. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's not enough people talk about that part of it where you are now, and there's still room for growth. There's still things that you haven't done that you are going to accomplish in years to come. But it's definitely having that understanding where, like you said, at 5 years, you wouldn't have been ready for that opportunity. And that's okay. That's natural. That's normal. And accepting that, being comfortable with that, and having that understanding that it's not a failure. It doesn't mean you're never going to get there. But it's just not the time right now. And then when you do get to that point, you're going to look back and be like, oh, I understand it now. You know what I mean? And like, those are the conversations I want to bring to my podcast, because that's the reality of if, you got a PhD, or if you are a successful DJ, or if you do run a store like, Shaban, Miss Eye Candy, these things don't happen overnight, and that's okay. And it's okay to reach out for help. It's okay not to know everything or try to do it on your own. I love working alone. I love building my business and putting my own blood, sweat, and tears into it. But like you said, I have to say in the last year, my support and like the people who are willing to invest in me, I'm like, wow, like it really is such a difference where you kind of realize, okay, I really couldn't do these certain things if I didn't have so-and-so showing up for me or investing in me. So, and that's like I said, like it still stems back to just those values, taking care of people, showing up and really taking the time.
And always, don't forget about those day oneers. So if you know BB's Bingo, my girl Bianca, she runs that, and she's been booking me since the first 20 years when she was in college for her college parties. She's doing her 3-year anniversary, April 25th. If you have time, it's going to be at Riverworks.
Okay.
And she does the boozy bingo.
Oh, I see that, and that looks so fun. I'm gonna have to look into that.
And Bianca, I'm so proud of her. So like I said, but she, she still looks out to me to come DJ some of her events. So trust me, I'm gonna take care of her the best because she's a day oneer. Like her college parties when I was probably not the most prepared or was still learning.
But it was an opportunity.
Yeah,
it was an opportunity.
It was, and I'm forever grateful for those trusts and that opportunity, and where it's got me to where I am today. So with still room to grow and to learn and.
Got a lot of years ahead of you.
Yeah, and just to constantly be thankful for where I am in this town, and let's not forget about you. I mean, you show up. There's a lot to learn from Em too as well. I mean, she's always there, and you talk about energy. She shows up, and she's got a big old smile on her face, and she's always super just supportive, and as soon as she walks in the door, just
energy
and always really encouraging. So don't sell your, I mean, not that you sell yourself short, but I know we focused on me.
It's good to be humble, but not too humble. And I know, and like I said, for this is my humble beginnings in the sense of this is the start to my shine. So as long as I stay focused on that and continue to believe in it, I feel like that's where the blessings come in return when you least expect it. And that's the best way to experience. So
make sure to have me back on your 10-year anniversary.
Ooh.
When you got your own studio.
Right, yes.
In New York City.
Oh,
I'm manifesting.
Okay.
My mom always says about manifesting.
You do, it's a real thing.
We're manifesting, or LA, wherever you pick.
Right, it's not a season of if anymore, it's a season of when. I strongly believe that. So David, aka DJ Pnasty, at DJ Pnasty is where you can find him on Instagram.
Yep.
He's
Facebook.
amazing. Yeah. I mean, like I said, if you want him, you better book him now for next year.
Yeah, no, it's I'm like I said, I'm forever grateful for the consistent opportunities with everybody and people that reach out to me. Remember, just because don't always assume I'm busy. People, that's one misunderstanding. Is one last thing I'll leave you with is, although I put my DJ schedule out, don't say, oh, I was gonna text you, but I figured you were already booked. Still,
I be reaching out. You know what? I did that too. I said, I know he's busy, but you know what? Let me ask. And I planned it. It didn't happen, but he was gonna make it work. And I appreciated that. Even though it fell through, that right there, I was like, that's a real one.
Yeah, because like you said, like I'll make time for especially people that support me. But if I can, it's not like people think, oh, well, I know you're probably not doing this kind of an event anymore. I'm like, well.
Why not?
What do you mean? Like, why not? Like, I'm no different than when I was when I started. Except I've had the opportunity to get better at my skill and learn a lot more things that go around with it. But I would still DJ. Like,
it's a constant practice what you do, so you can't go wrong.
So I'm never too busy. So
okay. Well, subscribe to Just Ask Em. This episode, was my second official interviewed guest, which I'm super appreciative. Yeah, super appreciative. I had to let family be first. You know what I'm saying? Don't take it personal.
Listen, I don't want to. Listen, I know the family. Yeah, listen, I get it.
And who knows? Like I said, maybe there'll be a different topic that I might have you on for. But so you heard all this great information here on Just Ask Em. I hope you tune in and subscribe to my channel. Yeah, come see me out sometime, please. Any support is always appreciated. So. Thanks for taking the time to watch it. And thanks for taking the time to have me here. It's an honor. Thank you. Yeah.